All right. I think today's Sporecyte webinar is live. I'll wait till 1 minute after to let some more people come on. Looks like we have attendance today, which is exciting. And we're excited about, these new products that we're going to dive into. So I'll wait just a couple more seconds, and I've seen several new people have gotten on, so I'll continue to wait till I get to 1 minute after. So we got 30.
Not 1 second longer. We got to get on. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, people are jumping on, so we're almost there.
Is that 31? I see.
So
32.
Yeah.
Going up.
Yeah, 130. Is that what you see? That's what I see.
1,000. Yeah. Sorry, 300 people are on this webinar.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think it's 1 minute after, so we will get started. Thank everybody for attending today, live, and the people that will be able to see this, on the website in the future. So the topic of today's webinar, better tools, better testing. So new sampling solutions with Apacor. So I'll get into Apacor introduction in 1 second. But first, we'll just talk about our agenda a little bit. Obviously, we always talk a little bit about Sporecyte, what we're doing. Then we'll talk about Apacor, some of the products that they've developed for Sporecyte and the rest of the testing world. So we'll go through those products, and I'll talk a little bit about the Sporecyte sampling pump, which is something that we manufacture for ourselves. But Apacor is a separate company. We'll talk about them more. Finally, we'll have a Q&A. And if you do have questions during the presentation, feel free to put those in the chat channel. Ashley, our ace marketer, is on with us, and she will give those to us to answer as we go. All right. You guys probably are familiar with me, Jim Bates, Director of Sales for Sporecyte. And we have with us Alan Bromley, Head of Global Sales and Marketing Manager for a company called Apacor. They're based in the UK.
Yeah, just outside of London.
So someday I need to go visit there in the Marble Arch.
Yeah, first stop.
All right, a little bit about TechCite. Most of you guys probably know this, but we really are world leaders in machine learning, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. We use digital microscopy or computer vision to find visual images, so specifically mold spores and air particulate. For Sporecyte, but we do other things like red blood cells, blood cancers, all kinds of things. In the human vet side, we're also doing, what do I want to say? All kinds of visual small things, microscopic things. So TechCite as a large company, and Sporecyte's just part of that, which I'll get into in a sec. It's used by labs, pathologists, doctors, veterinarians, home and building inspectors, industrial hygienists, environmental consultants, all kinds of things like that. So as everybody knows or may not, TechCite is the parent company. Sporecyte is one vertical within the bigger company called Sporecyte. So then the human product, again, we're using computer vision and artificial intelligence to find, count, and classify the things that we're looking for. That's TechCite. And our primary collaboration partner in TechCite for the human analysis is the Mayo Clinic. On the animal side, so veterinarian, your companion animals, working animals, is a company called Zoetis, is our partner, and they're the largest animal health company in the world. And the product we white label to them globally is called VetScan Imagist. So one of the reasons that we're bringing on these new products from Apacor, which is, again, the name of the company that's developing these new air cassettes and other products for us, in the human world and the animal world, they are already creating collection kits or testing kits. If you are applying for a new job, sometimes the job has you go to a lab and you have to collect a sample. So Apacor makes all those sample collection kits, all kinds of things for us that are used globally. So probably 2 years ago, Apacor came to us and asked if there was some products that they could work on and create for Sporecyte. So we started a collaboration along those lines. So again, this is completely, we don't have any ownership of Apacor. They don't have any ownership of TechCite and Sporecyte, but we've collaborated on what we want in these products and how how we could find ways for a specification to make them better, and that they could, work better with AI, but work better across the board. So with that, I'll move to the next slide. A little bit more about our Sporecyte lab. We're AIHA MPAT compliant. We're also a licensed lab in the state of Texas, which is the only lab in the U.S. that requires a specific license for laboratories. And then also we're ISO compliant with 17025, which is the laboratory accreditation. So you can also see that we have our lab director is a PAACB. There's only a handful of people, in the world that really have that accreditation, which is a very specific spore analyst. So enough about that stuff. A little bit about our pricing. So all samples, surface samples, air samples, each sample, the lab fee is $20 per sample. We turn that around the same day that we get it into the lab. When you buy products from us, for every 3 air cassettes you buy, we include an overnight shipping label and envelope. And you don't pay for that shipping label until you actually use it. So it's just a courtesy to make your operations logistics a lot easier. All right, so with that, I'm going to do a quick introduction on Alan, and then I'll turn over these Apacor things to him. But as I said, Alan's Global's head of sales and marketing for Apacor. So he's led the commercial strategy since 2012. So he is focused on, delivering high quality diagnostic solutions along with Apacor's innovation. And with that, I'll just turn the time over to Alan, then I'll say a few words at the end.
Perfect. Well, thanks a lot, Jim. Thanks for having us to discuss the Airstrap range with you. It's a real pleasure to bring these to all the people on the call. We've been working very hard over the last 2 years, and actually the company's been running for just over 30 years. So 30 years we've been plastic injection molding, and we're doing some really great work in the environmental space. And as Jim explained to us, Sporecyte was an area we thought we could improve on. And actually, finally, we've brought the Airtrap Mini to market, which Jim will come on to, which is available to order now. So we've been very much working hard to bring this, and have taken 20 years of innovation, having spoken to some industry experts. Dan Baxter, Jason Earl have been very influential in the design and development of these tests. And so now what I'd like to do is just take you through a few of those innovations and how we've improved on what is a very good test, but we've taken it to the next level. Next slide, please. That through here. Sorry, how do I do the next slide? Is Ashley? Sorry, Jim. You're right. Thanks, Jim. I saw you dipped off for a second there. I was like, come back. So there's here's the agenda I'm just going to take you through. So it's the Airtrap Mini. We've got a bit of the Excel, which you've already had a presentation on, but we'll take you through some of the developments on that. Obviously, there's no unless you have proof, there's no way of showing that your product is better in the market. So we have the Airtrap study, and then we have some new products we're bringing to market, which will be available very soon to order, which include the swabs. And we also have an improvement on the rotometer, which is an airflow meter, which I'll take you through a slide on that as well. So here is the Airtrap Mini. Many of you may not have seen this on the Sporecyte website, but essentially, as I mentioned, we've worked with Dan Baxter here, Jason Earl. We've had our own R&D team developing this and taking all of the inputs, looking at the aerosol, which is, is the industry standard as it stands today. But we've taken all of the things we thought could be improved, and we've put that into this new device. So one of the first things that most of you find irritating with the aerosol is the sticky tabs. So many times they'll either be in the box with all the sticky tabs, already attached together, which, can increase cross-contamination before you've even used the aerosol itself. And also, you might want to put it somewhere, stick it somewhere when you're in a confined space, which can be quite annoying. So one major innovation was to have these integrated caps on the top and the bottom, which seals the device, making sure that there's no cross-contamination in transit. And so it's a very nice, clean click when you put it together. So that was the first innovation there. So then the next thing we've got is on the actual device itself, we have barcodes for traceability, and we want to make sure that we can actually do that for when you're filling out your COC. You need to make sure that everything is cross related, so we can keep on top of that. Sporecyte, when we first got together with Sporecyte, the undulating waviness of the gel was quite an issue for them, to make sure that the AI works perfectly through when you're transitioning through the slide, when the scanner is looking through the depth of field. So one of our key developments was to make sure that the slit impaction gel is actually incredibly even, so that the AI can work precisely as it's supposed to. And that's what we spent years now. We've been developing that. We've got it exactly right. And this is why we're now launching the Mini, because it's a very tricky product to manufacture. That's why I think that there's been such domination in the market for so long. But now we've come along and we've improved that process, and it's now can be commercialized globally in the way that we manufacture in our clean rooms. So that was a very important part of the design aspect, was making sure that the slit impaction gel is completely flat and is incorporated for the AI. Another point is that a lot of the home inspectors and a lot of the market the product needs to be pump agnostic, which means that it has to be able to fit on certainly the Sporecyte pump, but then also you've got the Buck BioAir pump, and then you may have other pumps on the market that this will need to fit. For the Buck BioAir, we do have an adapter that can be either we'll give that free or can be purchased at a later date, but that definitely fits on every single pump that is available on the market. So you don't need to buy a specific pump. I mean, we'd recommend buying the Sporecyte pump, but if you already have your own one, these kits will fit. At the beginning, we had a pack size 48, but now for the home inspector, we've actually designed a pack size 10, which will be available very soon to order from the Sporecyte website. So these boxes have arrived, and we're just in the process of getting these available to order on the Sporecyte website. Next slide, please, Jim.
All right, I'm gonna jump in. I didn't mean to make that quick cameo a minute ago. Well, I did mean to, but I didn't want to interrupt your flow, so I hid myself. I wanted to add a couple things on here. So Alan mentioned that Dan Baxter, got involved on this, and I had been talking with some associates about what we were working on with Apacor, and they were interested in getting involved. And that's a kind of a roundabout way how Dan got involved. But you guys might know that Dan Baxter was the inventor of the aerosol. So as he really understands this marketplace, he understands, these cassettes and how to do things, how to iterate on something and make it even better. So Alan, myself, Dan Baxter, and a couple other associates had dinner a few months ago was that Kansas City? Anyway, it was super interesting, talking about just the gel pad, how technical it is to have the gel pad. I didn't understand before, but in talking with Dan, he talked about the gel pad is important because it provides kind of a soft landing for particulate, mold spores, air particulates. So it's really important, the density, all the things that go into making that. It's really, really a technical process, more so even than Alan led on. And then just
it's very tricky.
The flatness, that was my original specification, just to keep the Z-axis layer from the microscope having to go up and down on focusing. It just makes things go faster. So there were a few other things that we had in there that Dan's been able to iterate on and just make exceptional. So it's been great to have him, as a kind of the lead consultant on this with Apacor. So, all right.
What I found funny about the conversation we had there was he said that he had designed over 100 different types of gel, and it was the first designed which was the best. So he made 99 others, and the first one was the best one.
Right. So super interesting. All right, I'm going to let you get back to it. I'm going to hop off and give you the next slide.
Appreciate we've probably got 15 minutes, so I don't want to take I'll probably the Mini was the main one that we wanted to kind of get across that's available.
Perfect.
So a massive part of the design of the gel is to actually 12 months is the current shelf life of the competition, and we are doing studies now to actually increase that shelf life from 12 to 18 months. We're just doing these studies at the moment, but it'll be some point next year we'll hopefully be making an announcement as to potentially an increase in the shelf life, which will make it much easier to store for a longer time, especially if you're not using so many samples. So it's quite an important part of our development. As I mentioned, and as Jim has mentioned, it's designed for AI compatibility. And, you know, if you guys are already using Sporecyte, then the optimum choice for your either minis or your XLs is definitely the air traps because of the even field at which the scanner is working. We also have a mini jig accessory, which I have here, which I can model. This is mainly for the lab, and also one of the points with this device here is how you open it. On the aerosols, they pop open, which can mean that sometimes slides are lost. So whereas on this particular, I'll show you just on here, but this opens up very nicely. So if you open it this way around, you have your slide in here. It doesn't pop out. It's just it's a screw cap. So it's another design element that's gone into the product that we're very proud of inventing there. Next slide, please, Jim. Air Trap XL. I mean, we've already done a webinar on this, but again, not going to go too much into these points, but the huge part here is the actual integrated caps, avoiding any cross-contamination. What's convenient about this for any lab users here that might have their own labs is that the gel is already mounted onto a glass slide. So you can see here, which means it's more efficient and actually quicker. It's only 3 steps to get that onto to get that under a scanner or to get it under a microscope. It's a bit more efficient than the Mini there. Again, we are making the pack sizes smaller. So we have pack 24 available, but there will be a new pack 8 coming out, and that will be being shipped out to Sporecyte very soon. We already have the boxes available on that one. Next slide, please. So here you can see just a cross section of the cassette and how it works. Again, the slit impaction, the design, all of the elements are leading into a very nice, clean trace line. I'll come on to that into the study data, but it's a very easy preparation for the lab. Again, increasing shelf life, and the gel's been optimized. Next slide, please, Jim. So just wanting to touch on the study. I don't think, you know, in our field, in microbiology, parasitology, and in whichever medical field you're in, study data is always critical to proving a point. And this was a very important point that we wanted to make sure we got across to our customer base, is that the current industry standard we wanted to be equal to, and obviously you want to aspire to being better than the competition. And this was done at the study was done by the Environmental Analysis Associates. It was done on 5 samples in September 2024, and then repeated again in November 24, 52 days later. And we're very happy with all the results in here, and I'll just go on just to share with you what these results are. So the main takeaway point here is that actually the XL delivered a 20% higher recovery of mold spores than the aerosol. The Mini was matched or exceeded in some cases the aerosol in multiple samples, but both showed a stronger and more consistent recovery over time. And the study is downloadable from the airtrap.co.uk website. I believe it's also on the Sporecyte website with a small note underneath, but it is downloadable on there, and you can see for yourself the actual data points which show the recovery is better with the XL and also equal to with the Mini and the aerosol. Next slide, please, Jim. A part of the design features was we wanted to make sure that the inlet area was very focused, and we wanted to make sure it was a narrow, uniform particle band, because we knew that there was uneven distribution with the aerosol. So this was a very key focus for us when designing the slit for the trace line. And what this does is it improves the speed of the manual read and also the automated slide review, because it's a more compact and it's easier to detect. You know, the aerosol was a bit more uneven with the deposit, which can make it longer to actually read the slide itself. So it was a very conscious effort to make sure that the cassette, the trace line, was a very narrow, uniform particle, which you can see here on the images. Again, this one just shows that we have cleaner slides, more reliable data, minimal background dust, and actually the aerosol shows more mineral opaque artifacts. But we wanted to, you know, this study really does show fewer false counts, cleaner imagery, less particle distribution. What I feel here is that there's, and what it goes to say in the study is that there's more particles that actually bounce off the aerosol, where there's more, whereas our slit impaction gel actually holds, and there's less of the 2 microns that are bouncing off the gel here to make it a wider deposit. Next slide, please, Jim. So just as a kind of overall here, the AirTrap XL is actually pre-applied to a standard slide, so it's much easier for the lab. So when it comes into Sporecyte, I think they much prefer it, and they really wanted us to actually develop the XL. It fits perfectly onto the Sporecyte pump, which I'm sure Jim will probably show you. I have a couple of in front of me, so I can show you that later on in the presentation. The Mini is consistent format. You know, everyone's used to the aerosol. As I say, it's the industry standard, and we're going to be changing that out. So there's less handling involved there. But everyone on the call here will be used to using the aerosol. So the Mini is going to be a straight swap, like for like, and you'll just be used to it. And I think once you start using it, we'll be a lot more happy with the sample taking and the fact that the lids close quite easily compared to the tabs. Also, there's the AirTrap device. You know, the study's done 52 days apart, and it shows that the integrity of the actual device itself, there's a lower long-term reliability on the aerosol compared to the AirTrap there, and that's what the study goes into say. Next slide, please, Jim. So just as an overall summary, we have here just comparing the aerosol with AirTrap, fewer steps for us, a much narrower deposition, higher recovery of mold spores with the XL, equivalent or better with the Mini, and that's obviously, you know, that's written study data here. And also we're seeing collection efficiency and sample clarity is higher with the AirTrap than the aerosol. So we're very confident that our product is an improvement on the current industry standard, and we're happy that once these products start flowing, that people will see the benefits, and they'll actually be happy to continue using with the AirTrap product line. Next slide, please. I can see we're running slightly out of time. So we do have AirTrap swabs that are available. They're being shipped as we speak out to the US. They'll be pack size 10. They actually have a very long shelf life, around 5 years, if you keep them in the right conditions. We have barcodes, we have serial numbers. They are sterile, and they're great for surface sampling. We also have in the pipeline some other products to do with swabbing and lifting of samples, but I'm not going to go into that until we actually have a proper product to share with you, and we'll get back in touch with Sporecyte when we have that product. Next slide, please, Jim. We also have, instead of the rotometer, we're developing a flow meter, which will show that the pump can run with the air trap on top at 15 litres per minute. So this, once we've got a few things sorted out, will be available to order. We'll be working with Sporecyte to get these onto their website as soon as possible. It's universally compatible, it's rechargeable, wireless, it's got data logging capabilities. There's a lot to be desired with this, and actually we have with a different motherboard, we can do different things like humidity. So this isn't just a flow meter like a rotometer. We'll also have other options available in the future with this product, but we'll work with Sporecyte to get this on their website as soon as possible, and we'll communicate that with all the Sporecyte's customers. Next slide, I think. Back over to you, Jim. I know you've got 4 minutes left, so I tried to rush through a little bit there. Hope you got everything.
Yeah, anybody that's seen me on these, I always talk fast because I find out I have a lot of things I'm saying. I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, the Sporecyte air pump, most of you have seen it. A few things to note about this: it has a bit of an unusual design. The reason that it has this specific footprint it has is that as we developed this, I wanted to make sure that it would ship in a FedEx medium-sized box. So form follows function, or shipping cost led everything on this. So anyway, we wanted to develop our own air pump that didn't have too many bells and whistles, but had what you needed. So it could get you going, everything you'd need in a simple package that we could sell to our clients. There's lots of good air pumps on the market. You can use whichever one you want. We like ours, but certainly there's other great ones. Ours is a plug-in pump. You can, when you buy this on our website, there's a link to a battery pack, and we're going to put some more links to other battery packs up there. But you can get a battery pack that will allow this to be run off a battery, but otherwise you plug it into the wall. So it's got a button here. You press that. It's got a 5-minute timer. There's some little lights here, 5 little lights that count down. So in case you wondered, when we sell the air pump, we sell this as part of a package, the pump kit, we call it. A pump kit comes with the pump, a rotometer, which is your calibration tool, the things that you need to calibrate it. So we sell that pump kit for, I think it was $119. Let me go back. Look, $199. I apologize. So $199 for that. Trying to think of what else I wanted to say about the pump. It is tripod ready, so it's got the tripod connection point here. Again, a universal fit for air traps, as Alan mentioned. And it's a great little device. Pretty soon, we're going to put a 2-pack on our website, so you'll be able to buy two pumps that'll come with 1 rotometer. We've talked to a lot of inspectors that like to have more than 1 pump so they can set one up, have it running, and then go set a second one up to make it a little bit quicker, although it doesn't take that much time to collect the samples. So look for that coming soon to the website, to the shop. So that's pretty much all I've got right now. Talk about, I guess I could talk about the flow rate. We suggest that you do 15 liters per minute for 5 minutes. The pump is adjustable, so you can adjust the flow rate, and that's what the rotometer is for. So you can double check your flow rate and your calibration. I think we got about everything. Here's a quick look at when you go to our shopping cart on our website. These are things that you'll see. You've got the Mini, the XL air traps. You've got the pump kit, and we have a few other things up there as well. The slides, surface slides, and swabs. So that's about it. Q&A. Trying to see if we've got any specific.
Got lots of questions. I'm trying to manically go back to as many as possible. But it's good. Yeah. There's quite a few on here.
So here's a first one from Jacob asks, I don't understand how the new cassette can have less opaque particles than the AOC. Opaque particles are in general heavier than spores. So I don't know when you said opaque particles, Alan, I'm thinking he's wondering exactly what you meant. So I don't know if that's just clarity of the gel. So early on, when I was developing these things in the lab, I could see a lot of times the gel would have a lot of particulate in it. So as I was doing the initial specification, I wanted to have, super clear, no particulates in the gel. And I'm not sure that that's what you were meaning, not the particulates landing on the gel pad, but particulates in the gel itself. So I just wanted it to be more clear. But that was, years ago when I worked on that. So I'm not sure if that's what you're trying to say. It doesn't have anything to do with the analysis.
Well, we would say, yeah, I think when I was speaking to Dan, he was saying that it was, and I would want to get his clarity on this, and it would be good specifically on this study. If we had a couple of questions, we could go back to Dan specifically, but it was to do with the tackiness of the gel, and actually the size was, I remember him saying this to us at AIHA, is that they're quite small and they can bounce. Now I want to get his clarity on that, but that's what I think he was talking about.
Yeah, I think that was we were talking about that at dinner, and that's where I didn't know how important it was to have the gel versus another capture mechanism, because he was saying actually the gel, when a particle impacts, there is some give there, and you want that give so it doesn't bounce off. So my guess is that's what you were referring to. So that was important, and that was something that I didn't know before. So super important. I hope that answers the question. I think that's the answers. That gel's really important to cushion, and especially on the smaller, lighter spores, because the tinier and tinier things you want them to stick in the gel as well. Okay. Yeah. So what is the size of the particulate spores cut point? So as far as, once you get down to ultrafine particulate, air traps are pretty good. I think down to about 1.5 microns. Below that, I would have to probably go to Dan for the specification on that. But I think about down to 2 to 1.5 microns is probably where you're getting. So
he talks about this in the study, and he says when it goes past 2 microns VOCs, any sort of gel, they don't really stick as well as anything larger than that size. So that's what he was referring to when he was talking to us in terms of particle size. You're getting to sort of VOC level, which is not the capability of the cassettes for whatever slit impaction gel you have. It's not they're not going to stick.
Right. I think that's important too. So that's a really good question, knowing how fine a particulate matter that we're really tracking. Also, as Alan just mentioned, we don't track any, VOCs. So, gases, Sporecyte can only, count and classify what we see. So no gases. And, once you get below 2 microns, for sure 1.5 microns, it's not capturing all of that. Those things are just so small and light. Okay, Travis.
So I just wanted to mention to Joel, he said you still have to use the rubber bands to hold down the mini, and we don't. So on the Sporecyte pump here, you can see, this is just to Joel. You can see the fit is absolutely perfect. You could turn it upside down if you want. You wouldn't want to, but you don't need the bands. They're just there if you have an in-wall adapter, and you need to put it near the wall, then you can have it like this. But the fit is so nice on the Sporecyte pump with the Mini that you don't actually have to have the bands on there.
Another couple of things to note is I think we're on our 4th iteration of our air pump, and each time we learn and we improve. And the new inlet is a much better fit for everything. So we designed this not to have to use rubber bands, but when we got the first couple rounds, sometimes it helped to use those depending on the connection point of the cassette. But going forward, those should be perfect. We also used a little bit more grippy material on that inlet point on the pump. So great question. I'm glad you brought that up, Alan. Travis asked, can you briefly talk about wall checks? There was reference to a special adapter in literature we received. So I'll talk about that first, then I'll let Alan talk about the receiver. You guys probably know times inspectors will want to do a wall cavity check. So you'll put a little hole in the wall. You'll have the little adapter that you can put through there and do some collection for the wall cavity. So we are doing those now, and we've got those out there, and we'll give you more information on that coming up. But good question, and go ahead, Alan.
So we do have this one. It's kind of like the sort of beginner one that we have. So we do have an in-wall adapter. This is also used for the Dwyer rotometer, funnily enough, which you guys use as your rotometer. We are actually in the process of designing a special connection on here so it actually fits into the wall, and it knocks there's a special design that we're putting on here. It's with our R&D team. This current version is quite a rudimental design, whereas we're doing something more intricate that will actually fit into the wall. And we're going to be working with Jason Earl on that one as well. So it is something that's in the pipeline. Also, just to mention, if you, on these questions here, there's a lot of great questions. And if there's anything you want us to develop or work on, that's what we're so adept at doing. We're a medium-sized company, so we're very agile. If someone comes up with an idea, like a tape lift, for example, or a swab, or an in-wall adapter, that's what we take to our R&D team straight away, and we innovate and we work on it. We've got a great design team. So if anyone has any ideas of like, oh, you know what, this product is actually really annoying me, I use hundreds of these every month, come to us and we'll redesign it for you. Especially if there's volume involved, we'll definitely help.
Okay.
Stuart was talking. Stuart's just mentioned about how to check the flow rate on a BioAir or a pump without your digital rotometer. So can you confirm a rotometer will work with these two pumps once it's ready? So I guess that's we do have adapters that can sit on these pumps. Jim, obviously we have the design on here on the air traps. So these adapters here, just to show you, Stuart, they click in perfectly. So you can actually add these. You can add your rotometer onto the top. So these fit in really snugly. You can hear that pop in there. So these come off. So, but without your digital rotometer, yeah. So it will work with other rotometers, but this is why we've designed this special adapter, and you can buy just the adapter from Sporecyte. It's product code 3511. If you care about product codes. I'm happy to I mean, I don't know if you wanted to wrap up or whether we're not.
Let's wrap up.
I do kind of want to answer the questions there. It's kind of like it's what I would say is maybe all on the call. If you've got questions, send them to Jim. Jim can then contact us, or he might have the answers there. But we've definitely caused a lot of questions, which is great.
Yeah, we've got your questions, so we'll reach out to you. The questions we didn't get answered, and we'll post those up. So appreciate everybody attending today. Alan, thank you for being here representing Apacor. And one thing that Alan mentioned, they are very adept at changing, adapting, creating new things. And we've had a partnership. I'll call it a partnership. We've been working with Apacor.
It's a synergy,
probably for six plus years. Actually, maybe longer. I've been at Sporecyte for 6.5. I think Apacor was already doing some
with ARUP. So it started off with ARUP and the work, and then that moved on to Zoetis. And then since then, we've kind of we're the exclusive distributor for TechSite and Sporecyte in the UK. We have a really great relationship with you guys. So it's been a pleasure, and really appreciate you having us on the call today.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Alan. Thanks, everybody. And we'll let you go. Have a great week. Bye.
Take care, guys. Really nice. Yeah. See ya. Bye.